All right, guys, welcome back to Crunch Time, the show where you get the best NBA DFS picks each and every day. Today we have a nice 10-game slate here, joined as always with Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'll just send you my contest links. I forgot to do that, so
Nice.
I'll do that now. But we have a nice, I think, 10 game slate. Just got news that Donovan Mitchell is helped to the locker room, so hopefully he's okay
Oh,
right now.
really?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm kind of curious what happened. They had the early game, right? There was one early game today. Was that a makeup game, or why was it so early?
I don't know, but it's going on right now, and he just got hurt, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
that sucks. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's go over some success from yesterday. So we have Nick here. Baseball action early. Not sure if we went over this one. It was at 2:30 Pacific time yesterday, so about an hour after we start. So I guess not. So this one, $47.94 over there. NHL on DK, 80 to 150. This is you, Chris. Let's click on these snowflakes. You did 1,400 into 3,700. That's pretty good. Pretty solid stuff there. Snow next, 40 to 125. That's good stuff there. Thomas Bay, NBA main slate, 4 to 720. Is this a new skull emoji? What is this one? Skull crossbones? Give Thomas both. Yeah, Thomas has been doing pretty well. He's on a streak. Ultra boosted here as well. What did he do? 150, but I'm not sure what his entries were. But solid stuff there. Where'd you send your contest, Chris? Slack? No.
Oh no, I'm just finding them right now.
Oh, gotcha.
There, I sent you one.
Got it. Thomas here says it's going to be a Caleb Martin kind of night tonight. Exclamation
Yeah,
mark. He's excited for that.
I think I agree because Devontae Graham's out, so yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Do you forget what happened to D. Mitch?
No, I'm not watching it. I think something with his leg or ankle. I don't know.
Oh. Let's see. So, do you want to go over this one then before, or are you still looking up the DK one?
Yeah, we can go over it. I'm still finding a link here. So
Okay. So FanDuel, you did win over there. Oh, now we have Aiden as well, actually. NBA main slate for Aiden, 57-115. NHL after hours, 10 to 20. DK NBA single slate, 20 to 40. NHL main slate on DK, 50 to 84. And then baseball early slate, 10 to 20. And then now I have your contest, so I can open that one up. All right. So on FanDuel, your results here, 1,400 to 3,700. Where'd you go right here? I feel like the day before you were also like fourth place, second place on FanDuel.
yeah, I mean yesterday was weird because we had late swaps, so it wasn't really anything. Like the lineups were completely different from the start. There was a bunch of news after lock, so had to late swap a bunch of stuff. Schroeder, he was originally out, then he came back in. So that was kind of a risky play there, but I ended up sticking with him. It got me to Jaylen Brown. Can you just scroll down here
Oh, sorry.
a little more? Yeah, so getting Schroeder got me to Jaylen Brown, which I wanted a lot. I think we talked about it on the show yesterday. I liked him a lot on the Celtics. I think I had him core. So yeah, he did well here. Didn't have Bazemore, so that was also big. I had Bridges instead. I think Bazemore got like 14, maybe 13. So that was big there. And then Crowder, he was just the last piece because I was late swapping. I was actually kind of hoping Schroeder would be out because I had a team with like THT instead of Halliburton, Caruso at point guard, someone else at power forward, and then I don't remember exactly who, but I had a bunch of other Lakers. I would have liked that team if we got Schroeder out, just because obviously all that usage would go around. But yeah, regardless, still a pretty good night here on FanDuel.
Nice. Who do you want to go over next? Who do we have here?
Let's keep going.
Okay. Chipotle?
Sure. I mean, let's see. Yeah, so this one had Bazemore. Bazemore was pretty chalky, 75% owned. So I was kind of lucky as well because I had more flexibility with my spots. Didn't have Tristan Thompson. He played very well for his price tag. Pretty much matched Montrezl Harrell, who was I think $1,000 more. So that wasn't great, but still not having Bazemore in that first game kind of opened up a lot of stuff for me here.
Yep. Anyone else?
Yeah, we
20?
can look at this one. Probably had Bazemore too. Yeah, so I don't. I think this one had Schroeder, and the other team we just looked at had Kemba. So yeah, that was the only difference here. If I had Bazemore, I probably would have landed on one of these teams, but I was glad that I didn't have Baze.
Okay. DK or anyone else? Keep going.
Just keep going. We don't have too many pages. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can go DK, I guess.
Okay. So you didn't post your results on DraftKings. Looks like you lost here, Chris.
Yeah, how many snowflakes is that?
1, 2, 3, 4 snowflakes. Could have
Yeah.
been 5, 6. Guess
Yeah, well,
five.
those guys were cheap. But yeah, big thing here was Giannis only getting 30. If he got like 50, I probably would have cashed, but Love also kind of sucked. Schroeder, 56% here, Snowflake. Didn't matter too much. Harrison Barnes, he mattered here, 6.3K. Only getting 24. Had some good pieces as well in Brown and Whiteside, but those guys were chalky, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, the big thing here was Giannis not playing too well.
Yeah. Anyone else you want to go over? The top?
Yeah, we can look at the fifth place team. Yeah, so this one didn't have Giannis. I mean, it's still a very low score. Yesterday was ended up being a very low scoring day, but I didn't have Tristan Thompson, so that was another thing. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it was a late swap day. I had Tristan Thompson originally. Had to swap off of him with Lakers news, so that's just how it happens yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for the homework. Into the slate. Looks like D-Mitch Chris update. I didn't see it, but it just says awkward landing. Right ankle turned pretty severely. Is that like a Hayward?
No, I see it now. I mean, I don't know. Like he just twisted his ankle.
Oh, it's not
Sort
like dislocated?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Let's see what else we got in the chat. So we have Adrian in here, first one today. He just says, okay. Thomas said the Caleb Martin thing. Vian Jones says, cash last night thanks to Jaylen Brown. Could have cashed more if I didn't swap from Bogey to Kemba when trade was ruled in. Sad face. Austin says, needed 2 scores from Harrell and the non-Schroeder line would have scored. T-Base says, Tristan Thompson was a manimal last night. That guy was so clutch. He must have played the song All Mine before the game. He was motivated.
Yeah, he looked good. He had like 5 assists as well, which is pretty crazy for TT.
Yeah. David Korea says, it's actually Chipotle like the Mex restaurant, Chris, not Chipotle.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think you're saying Chipotle on purpose, right?
Yeah, Chipotle. Rondo says, he's asking if that song is a K-pop song. Do you know that song, Chris? All Mine?
All Mine?
Who's it by? What song?
I don't know. I don't think I know All Mine.
Who's it by, Thomas?
Oh, it's the Kanye song with. Yeah, I do know it. It has Tristan in it, doesn't it? Not in it, but it's like about him or something. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Should we do some homework analysis on the lyrics, Chris?
No, I don't think so.
Which one's Tristan Thompson?
Right there. Up.
This?
Up. Right there.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's the analysis. Thanks, Thomas. Actually, I don't think I know this song. I didn't listen to this album. Have you, Chris?
Of course.
Probably heard it, but I don't think I. Do you like this album?
It was okay. Definitely not as good as Yeezus.
Not very memorable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. DC. No need to say sorry. Austin says, I know Casey and JoJo all my life. Tristan Thompson lyric from Thomas. But yeah, let's get into the slate, Chris. So 10 games here, 20 teams to pick players from. That's always exciting. What's your favorite game environment here so far? Any favorite news? Anything we can take advantage of in today's slate this Friday?
Yeah, we have a few spots that kind of stand out above the rest. We have the Raptors pretty much resting everyone. Fred VanVleet is back, though. He's very cheap, so he's in play. But they're resting like Lowry, OG, Siakam, I think Trent as well, maybe. Maybe Trent's out with an injury, but he's out. And then Pistons, they're resting a bunch of guys, Plumlee, Grant, Corey Joe. So they have a lot of value there. We have the Hornets. Devontae Graham is out today. I think PJ Washington is still out. Let me just check real quick. He's still doubtful, so there's that news. Obviously, Hayward, LaMelo, and Monk are out as well. Wanamaker is questionable for them too, so there's a lot of value from the Hornets. Yeah, those are like the main spots: Hornets, Pistons, and Raptors.
Nice. Let's get into it. Should we load up the D Mitch injury, Chris?
We can.
Do you have the streamable link?
I can send you a tweet. You just go to Bleacher Report Twitter.
Let's see. Is it bad?
That giveaway.
I don't know. I only saw it like once quickly.
Oh no. He's been such a durable player. And he falls into the arms of Royce. Hold your breath.
Didn't see the play, but man,
Where was it?
Just hate to see that.
I don't know. Like I said, I only saw it once quickly.
Oh, thorough. On such a Dwayne Wade joining the ownership ranks of the Jazz, and now you're watching your star player be helped off the floor.
I don't even know if I want to look at this video, man.
No, it's tough.
Do you see it?
Hopefully
Yeah, he landed on his ankle.
it's not
Right
as
ankle?
bad as
Went like in?
maybe the video. We can't
Yeah,
really
this is
take
probably a
look,
good
but
angle.
It looks like that right foot
Yeah, I don't know. Probably like a few days. I don't think it's
was caught.
too bad.
Yeah, same. Okay. Let's get into the slate. Dinda here in class, Chris, right on time, like always. First up, Clippers, clip show against the 76ers. Let's go over the Clippers first. So Serge Ibaka is out. Marcus Morris is probable. Paul George in. Kawhi Leonard questionable. Projected starters over there, we have Reginald Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, and Zubats. Any interest here, Chris, in the clip show, or are we waiting on this Kawhi Leonard questionable tag?
I mean, probably waiting on the news, but even if it comes, I don't think I really want to play Paul George for 9-5 on both sites on this slate. It's a pretty tough matchup against Philly as well, so don't really love this spot. One of those games that we usually talk about where I have more interest in watching it than playing it in DFS. Like it's a tight spread here, so that's good. Probably one of these two in Kawhi and George are going to have a good game. I don't know which one it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to pay off their price tag just because it's pretty high on both sites. Kawhi's missed the last couple of games, so I don't really want to play him. And then don't want to play any of these other guys on this team just because I think that Kawhi ends up playing. If he's out, then we could probably play someone like Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson again, Batum, maybe Rondo as a last piece, maybe Kennard if he ends up starting. So the Kawhi news is pretty big here, but like I said, I think he does end up playing here in this matchup.
Okay. Sixers side, George Hill out for them, Dwight Howard and Tobias Harris questionable tags. Projected starters, Benjamin Simmons, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Is it a Simmons night tonight, Chris?
No, we have a giant slate, so I mean, it's definitely not a Simmons night. We usually get those on the smaller slates. And now what? He's 7-8 on DK, 6-9 on FanDuel, so the price tag is still going down on FanDuel. He had a really good game last time out, but I don't know. I don't love this game environment. Last time they played Brooklyn, who's a pretty good team to target. This time it's the Clippers, who are pretty good defensively. So I don't know. It could be a Simmons night, especially on FanDuel in tournaments. Like maybe it's a game that he gets up for against Kawhi and Paul George. But just for us here on this giant slate, we don't need to go here.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Oklahoma City Thunder against the Pistons. Let me just set that up. So, Thunder side, Mike Muscala out, Pokuševski out, Gabriel Deck out, Josh Hall out, SGA is out, and then Luguentz Dort is in. Projected starters, Theo Maledon, Dort, Baisley, Roby, and Moses Brown. Anybody on the Thunder side, Chris, today?
No. I mean, we've seen what the Thunder have been doing. They have a very large rotation. They spread the minutes around pretty evenly. Like, I don't know. I don't want to play these guys. Maybe Moses Brown because he's cheap. He's 5'4" on FanDuel, 5'4" on DK as well. Actually, oh sorry, I have the wrong site. What is he on DK?
Moses Brown on DK.
6'1".
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's too expensive. Maybe on FanDuel as a last piece, but I just think we have a lot of value in other positions. So center is a spend up spot for me. So yeah, I'm really not on the Thunder here tonight.
Yep. Do you know who Yogi Berra is, Chris? Dinda said number 8, Yogi Berra in class now.
Yeah, Yogi Ferrell.
No, Berra.
What?
Yogi Berra.
No, Yogi Bear. Do you know Yogi Bear? That's who Yogi Ferrell is named after, his nickname.
No, this is some sort of baseball catcher, Chris.
Really? Yogi Berra?
Yeah.
You sure it's not a typo?
I looked it up. I don't think Dinda would have a typo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were talking about the Clippers, and Yogi Ferrell is on the Clippers now, so that's why I thought that. Yeah, I have no idea who this guy is.
Dinda's always speaking in rhymes, Chris. Rhymes and riddles.
Yeah, you have to decode his messages.
Yeah. T-Base says, I wonder if today will be a Sadiq Bey night tonight.
I mean, he's a good play. I think he fits better on DK, but we'll talk about the Pistons right now once we go through their starting lineup.
Okay. Detroit side, Mason Plumlee out, Dennis Smith Jr. out, Corey Joseph out, Ellington out, Grant out, Magruder out, Hamidou Diallo questionable tag. Projected starters, Saban Lee, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey, Sakuya Dembuya, and Isaiah Stewart. I'm not sure which one it is. Projected starters for the Pistons. Anybody on the Pistons for you, Chris?
Yeah, so I was kind of talking about it earlier. Pistons are definitely one of the best teams to target here today, especially on DK, where I think the prices are a little better for them. I'll start with Isaiah Stewart since I think he's the guy that is a good play on both sites. So he's 4-4 on DraftKings, 4-8 on FanDuel. Plumlee, we've seen this spot before for him. Always performs well without Plumlee. They're clearly just giving time to their young guys now, so they want to see what they have in them. So I think Stewart probably plays 30 minutes here at the very least. He's played well in his starts in the past as well. Expect him to start here, so I like him a lot on both sites for his price tag. And then some of these other guys, I think they're fine pieces on FanDuel, but DraftKings is where I have most of the interest. So I'll start with Sadiq Bey since Thomas mentioned him. He's 4-8 on DraftKings. FanDuel, he's a little more expensive at 5-3. So I like him a lot here. We've seen him play very well in games that Jeremy Grant has missed. They're basically missing 3 of their 5 starters now, 4 if you count Wayne Ellington. So it's going to be like a completely different look for them. I expect Sadiq Bey to play a lot of minutes here. He's obviously their first-round draft pick from the past draft, so they probably want to see what they have in him as well. He's also been playing well pretty much all season long, so I like him, especially on DK, like I said. Saban Lee, same sort of thing, 3.1K here on DraftKings. He's 3.5 on FanDuel, so it's a good price tag there as well, but just a little easier, a little better to fit that price tag on DraftKings, so I like him there. No Dennis Smith Jr., no Corey Joe, so Saban Lee here should have a a big game. Josh Jackson, 5'3", on DraftKings FanDuel. He is 5'5", so he's another guy that is probably going to get a lot of minutes. He's probably going to be one of their highest usage guys here, so I have interest in him. Hamidou Diallo, 4-2 on DK, 4-1 on FanDuel. He's questionable, but if he does end up playing, I do like him a lot on both sites. So yeah, I mean, all these guys are viable. I'd probably stick with their starters just because they probably have more secure minutes. So we have to wait for the starting lineup. But most of the guys I talked about, I project to start. I didn't talk about Killian Hayes. I think he's also in play, especially if he ends up starting. He's 3-5 on DK. FanDuel, he is 3-8. So it's a good price tag for him on both sites. So yeah, all these guys are viable.
Got it. Moving on, we have the Pelicans against the Wizards. So let's get into that one. New Orleans side, Lonzo Ball marked as in. Alexander Walker still out. Expected to return later this month. Projected starters over there, we have Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, B.I., Zion, and Steven Adams. Any interest in the Pelicans, Chris?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a really good matchup. One of our favorite matchups to target against the Washington Wizards. So this game has the highest over-under on the slate. It's at 243 right now. So I mean, if you land on any of these guys in your lineup, I think they're really good plays. I'm gonna stick with probably the top guys here from the Pelicans in Zion and Ingram. Lonzo, he's playing today, but kind of hurt, so I don't really want to play him for his price tag. I think he's 7-7 on FanDuel, so that's very expensive. DraftKings, he is 7-5, so he's expensive there as well. So I don't love that play, but Zion and Ingram, I think they're very good plays on both sites. Zion, I think he's 10K on both sites. Ingram, he's around 8.5. 8.5 on DraftKings, 8.3 on FanDuel, so he's a really good play as well. I like both of these guys up top in this matchup. I think both of them could hit their ceilings tonight. I don't mind playing them together. We've seen them put up big games recently, so these two are two of my favorite spend-ups on this slate.
Okay. Seeing some questions here, but let's wrap up the other half of this game, then we'll get into that. Washington side, I don't see any injuries there. Projected starters, Westbrook, Beal, Denny Avdija, Hachimura, and Alex Len. Anybody on that side of the game, Chris?
Yeah, so like I said, this is the highest over-under on the entire slate, so obviously we're going to have interest in the Wizards here. Pelicans are a really good matchup as well. They play fast, so I like both sides of the game here. Similar to the Pelicans, I only have interest in the guys up top with Russ and Beal. Kind of want to take advantage of pricing and scoring systems of each site, so I think on FanDuel, I prefer Brad Beal for 8.4K at shooting guard. And then on DraftKings, it's the opposite with where I prefer Russell Westbrook because you get the triple-double bonus. He's 11K there on DK. So I think these guys are really good plays here. They're implied to score 120 points. So, I mean, just like Zion and Ingram, if you land on these guys, I like it a lot. I probably prefer them a little bit more over the Pelicans guys just because we know that all of the usage from this team comes from these two guys. So, I like both these guys as spend-ups here today.
Okay. Some questions here. Vian Jones says Stewart or Birch, DK, GPP, Chris?
Give me Stewart.
Stewart?
Yeah.
And then, one sec, let me open up. Let's see. Another one from Vian Jones says, would you play Lee and Hayes together for extreme value?
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Like, they're going to be the guards that are on the court the whole game. They're probably going to split the floor at some point. I don't think it's just going to be like a one-to-one split at point guard. So, I mean, I definitely don't mind it.
Okay. And then what else we got? Dame downgraded to questionable, Chris, from David Korea. Saw that one too. Midday downgrade. How do you approach that?
Yeah, I didn't have interest in Dame anyways. That's one of the later games of the slate. So if we get that news before the slate locks, then we could play CJ. But if we don't get it, probably not going to be able to take advantage of it.
Okay. And another one, Vian Jones says Zion may have 80 DK points against my Wizards tonight.
Yeah, he really might.
Yeah. This says Zion will need a bottle of ketchup for eating up the Wiz tonight.
Yeah.
Moving on, next game, Orlando, Toronto. So you briefly mentioned Toronto's resting a lot of their guys, but Freddie is back in. We'll start with the Magic first. Over there, we have Otto Porter out, MCW out, Mo Bamba questionable, and then some guy named Devin Kennedy. Do you know that guy, Chris? Signed a 2-way contract for them.
No.
I'll pull him up once you get into the Magic, but projected starters there: Cole Anthony, Garry Harris, James Ennis, Chuma Okeke, and Wendell Carter. Any interest at all on the Magic side, Chris?
No, not really. It's similar to the OKC Thunder. Just another one of these bottom tier teams who kind of split the minutes around now at this point of the season. There's not like a high usage guy on this team, so I'm not too interested here.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this guy.
Oh, really? How?
Oh, this guy is the guy from Princeton. Mayo knows him.
Oh, is he a beast?
I'm not sure.
Let's see the stats. We're per game here. 14 points, 11 points. He's a scorer, Chris.
Yeah.
Just is he a shooter? 40% from 3.
Yeah.
Look at that free throw percentage. Although
He doesn't shoot many free throws, but his 3-pointers, he shoots a lot.
yeah, he's a sniper. Okay, let's go into the Raptors side. So Toronto, OG Anunoby out, Kyle Lowry out, Siakam out. Bembry questionable, Jalen Harris, Gary Trent Jr. Both of those guys are doubtful. And then, as you mentioned already, Fred VanVleet is back in. Projected starters: Malachi Flynn, Fred VanVleet, DeAndre Bembry, Chris Boucher, and Kem Birch. Anyone on the Raptors, Chris, with the guys resting, as you already said?
Yeah, so I have a lot of interest here in the Raptors. It's kind of the opposite to the Detroit situation. I like them a little more here on FanDuel. Just the way that pricing works here. So I'll start with Fred VanVleet, who's a much better play here on FanDuel, in my opinion, where he's 7.4K. DraftKings, he's 7.9K. So that's a pretty big difference. It's his first game back from the injury, though, so I'm a little bit concerned about the minutes. He served his suspension last game, so he should be healthy. I think he should play his full minutes here against the Magic. Price tag is too good to pass up on, in my opinion, on FanDuel. So I like him a lot. Malachi Flynn, he's 5'5" on FanDuel, 6'2" on DK. So he's another guy that takes advantage of the Lowry being out situation. We've seen him play with, or actually, have we seen him play with VanVleet? Do you know?
Don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have, but I mean, I assume Flynn's going to start here at the point guard, VanVleet at the 2, kind of like they used to do with Lowry and VanVleet. So I don't think it's going to be too big of a downgrade to Flynn's minutes, just because all these other guys are out: Trent, Lowry, OG, Siakam. So they're probably going to give Flynn as many minutes as he can handle, as they have in the last few games. He's been playing very well. I expect him to be very chalky here, so I think he's one of the best plays here on the slate, especially on FanDuel, like I said, where he's 5.5K. Then we have Kem Birch, who's a pretty good value play today, in my opinion. He's 4K on FanDuel. DraftKings, he is 3.8. So he's a good play on both sides. We had the question, I think, from BN Jones about Stewart versus Kem Birch. Both are really good plays here on this slate. I actually like pairing them together on FanDuel. Probably can't do it on DK just because there's so much value with the Pistons. But I mean, if you want to, I guess that's viable. But it might be a little bit difficult to find spend ups if you do that. So yeah, I like Kem Birch a lot. Like I said, he's one of my favorite plays here on this slate. I assume he's going to start. He's been playing around 28 minutes. You're actually right. He's just been replacing Aaron Baines. Hasn't really affected Chris Boucher. So for that reason, I do like Chris Boucher quite a bit as well here. He's 7-1 on DK, I think 7-5 on FanDuel. And FanDuel, he's a center. So it's kind of hard to play him on FanDuel, but I think on DraftKings, where he's 7.1K, where you could play more than one center, I think he's more viable over there. So I like him on DK. And yeah, those four are probably the main guys. I think VanVleet, Boucher, Flynn, and Birch are the main guys that are going to get most of the usage here on the Raptors. I don't think they're going to give too many shots to random guys like Yuta Watanabe, Paul Watson, Gil Giuseppe, Stanley Johnson. So I'm going to stick with the main guys here.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, Chris. You missed something big here on the Toronto side.
Bembry?
A detail. You missed a detail.
What?
Do you want to guess for a player? Maybe just look at the player, look at the teams playing.
Cambridge revenge?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you have that going for you as well, so just makes him a better play, I guess.
Exactly. Moving on, next up we have this Charlotte game against the Nets. Let's go over Charlotte first. So Brad, Wanamaker questionable for Charlotte. PJ Washington doubtful. Devontae Graham and Nate Darling both out. Projected starters Terry Rozier, Caleb Martin, Jalen McDaniels, Miles Bridges, and Bismack Biyombo. Anybody on the Hornets side today, Chris?
Yeah, so the Hornets, they're also one of those teams that we were talking about at the start. Missing a bunch of guys here. Hayward, LaMelo, Monk. Graham is out today. He's been playing recently, but he's out today. Washington is doubtful. Wanamaker is questionable. So I have a ton of interest in this team. It's a good matchup against Brooklyn. This is the largest spread on the slate at 12.5 favoring Brooklyn, but I think the Hornets can keep it close enough to play their full minutes. So for that reason, I like Terry Rozier a lot here. He's 7K on FanDuel. I think on DraftKings he's a little bit more. He's 8-1 on DK. So he's a better play on FanDuel where he's 7K. I think he's a solid cash game option. Should get all the usage he could handle without all these guys playing. He played 43 minutes last game. So, I mean, if he plays anywhere close to that today, should absolutely smash against the Brooklyn Nets. So I like him a lot. And then the other guy that's kind of popping a lot as value on both sides is Caleb Martin. Expect him to start here with Devontae Graham missing this game. We saw him 2 games ago. He started against the Lakers, played 35 minutes, got 41 fantasy points. So he's really good point per minute. I think he's a really good value option on this slate. So it's probably going to be those 2 guys mainly for me. You can fit in Miles Bridges, Jalen McDaniels, maybe Cody Zeller or Biyombo as well. But I think for me, I'm probably going to stick with Rozier and Martin for the most part.
Okay. Moving on to the Brooklyn side, KD in, Griffin in, Harden and Tyler Johnson both out for the Nets. Projected starters, Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, and DeAndre Jordan. Any interest here, Chris, on the Nets side?
Not really. So KD and Kyrie are playing together now. I would have more interest if it was just one of those guys playing, but if they're both in, I'm not too interested in this team here.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one, Miami, Minnesota. Miami side first, we have Iggy, questionable, Gabe Vincent, probable, Goran Dragic back in. Projected starters, Kendrick Nunn, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. Actually, I was just thinking about this because people were saying Jay Crowder played a big role for the Heat in their playoff run. I feel like Trevor Ariza kind of fits that role quite well as well. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's partly why they got him. I think he's a good piece for them. But yeah, today they're playing against the Timberwolves, so it's a pretty good matchup. It's one of those matchups that we do like to target in DFS. I'm not like going out of my way to get anyone here though. Usually we only have interest in Butler and Bam from this team unless there are injuries. They're pretty healthy, obviously outside of Oladipo who's out. So I'm not too high on the Heat today. Butler, I kind of like the revenge game against Minnesota. I like targeting him against Karl Anthony Towns. I like that matchup. I like that narrative. But like I said, I'm not really too high on the Heat today. If you land on Butler on FanDuel for 9-2 as your last piece, I don't think that's the worst option. He's also 9-2 on DK. So I don't think he's the worst spend up here on this slate. Hasn't been playing great recently. But I think if this game stays close, they should score a lot of points here. So I do like Butler quite a bit, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get him. Got
it. Minnesota side, Jalen Noel, questionable, Catman in. Projected starters, Ricky Rubio, Ant-Man, Josh Okogie, Jaden McDaniels now, and Karl Anthony Towns. Projected starters there. Who do you like on the Timberwolves side going up against Miami?
Yeah, so it's Cat's first game back in a while, or in 2 games, I think, maybe 3 games. So, I mean, I don't mind him as a spend up, but it's a pace down spot here for the Timberwolves. So I'm not going to be too high on them. Probably not going to land on anyone here in cash games. Tournaments, like I said, Cat, probably the only guy that I really like. Maybe Ant-Man as well, but I don't know. I don't love this spot for the Timberwolves here against the Heat.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Memphis against Chicago. Let's go over, where's this game? Let's go over Memphis first. So over there we have Brandon Clark, questionable, DeAnthony Melton out, Justice Winslow out, and Jaren Jackson Jr. out as well. Projected starters: John Morant, Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, and Valanciunas. Anybody here, Chris?
Not really. So, I mean, we kind of talked about like all these early games is where we have all our interests. So there isn't going to be much interest in these games later in the night. So, I mean, it's mostly going to be tournament stuff here. Joe Val against the Bulls. I don't mind that play. We saw him put up 52 games ago against the Bulls. So I don't mind him. He's 8-4 on FanDuel, 7-9 on DK. So I think he's a decent tournament option. John Morant, I don't know, a little too inconsistent for me, so I don't want to go there. I think it's just Joe Val up top if you are playing a Grizzly.
Okay. Chicago side: Tom Satoransky, probable, Zach Levine out. Projected starters: Sato, Pat Williams, Thad Young, Markkanen, and Vucevic. So no Zach Levine, Chris. Does that increase your interest in a guy like Vucevic here?
I mean, it would on like a smaller slate, but we just have this big slate with a few teams who are resting guys. We have a few key injuries that we already talked about. So, I mean, I'm not too high on Vooch here, especially in cash games. I think just like Joe Bell on the other side, Vooch is tournament viable here. You don't need him in cash games. But in tournaments, no Levine, so he should have like a similar role to what he had in Orlando. I mean, he's already had a pretty big role ever since he's came to the Bulls. So I don't think too much is going to change here. Probably just bumps up someone like Kobe White. Especially if he ends up starting. He's 3.8K on FanDuel. I like that price tag. 5K on DK, probably a little too expensive for him. So I don't love it there on DraftKings, but I think as a tournament play on FanDuel, Kobe White is also viable here.
Okay, let's move on to the next game. Denver Nuggets against the Houston Rockets. Denver side first: Shaq Harrison, marked as in. Projected starters: Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Jokic. So we've seen the Nuggets play. Actually, prior to Jamal's injury, we've seen the Nuggets play, but I guess he's out now for good. So I'm just wondering, has this kind of solidified anyone's role, like increased usage, anything like that?
I mean, it does increase the usage for these random guys. Like, I mean, it increases everyone's usage. Like, everyone gets a few more shots. There's not like one guy who becomes just this great play now. We've seen this scenario for like 5 games in a row now. At least, or obviously Murray played 1 game, but before that he missed, I think, 4 in a row, maybe 5 in a row. So everyone's priced up. Like Campazzo, Dozier, Monte Morris, they're all priced where they should be, in my opinion. Monte Morris actually got the start last game, so if you want to play him in tournaments, I don't mind that. But the guy for me here that I'm interested in the most is going to be Jokic. So actually, I like that Jamal Murray's out because it's less likely that the Nuggets are going to blow out the Rockets here. Jokic is 11K on FanDuel, 10-9 on DK, so I like using him as my spend up on both sites, really. Just like I said earlier, that we have a ton of value in the early games, so I think Jokic is a really good spend up here on both sites. We always like the matchup against Houston with bigs, pretty much with anyone. Like, they don't play much defense. So I like Jokic a lot here. He's my favorite Nugget, probably one of my favorite spend-ups on this entire slate. So I like him a lot. And then if you want to play another Nugget here, Michael Porter Jr. So to answer your question, if I had to pick one guy who gets the biggest bump, I would probably say it's Michael Porter Jr., just because he slides into that secondary scorer role now instead of being third. So, I mean, he's a decent play here. 7-4 on DK. FanDuel, he's 7-4 as well. He's been shooting very well, very efficient, playing more minutes now. So definitely don't mind Michael Porter Jr. Don't mind pairing him with Jokic either, just because, I mean, a lot of his shots come from Jokic assists, so they have some correlation.
Got it. Houston side, Sterling Brown, David Nwaba, Dan Wallhouse, Dante Exum, Eric Gordon, all out for them. Projected starters, John Wall, Kevin Porter Jr., Jay Sean Tate, Kelly Olynyk, and Christian Wood. Anyone on the Houston side, Chris?
Not really. It's a pretty tough matchup. We had interest last game against the Pacers, who, I kind of said it, they don't play any defense anymore with Miles Turner out. I think they're not playing any defense again today against the Jazz. I think the Pacers had like 70 points at the half. Not sure what the score is now, but in the first half, they weren't playing any defense. So, I mean, that was a much better matchup than this one against the Nuggets. So, I'm not too high on these guys. Don't really want to play Wall in this matchup. Don't want to play Wood. Maybe if you're playing tournaments and you're using Jokic, you could use someone like John Wall or Christian Wood as a bring back. But I don't know if you need it here today.
Okay, let's move on to the next game. Trailblazers against the Spurs. Portland side first, Zach Collins out for them. Lillard questionable tags, that's a pretty big one. Projected starters as of now. Lillard, McCollum, Norm Powell, Rocco, and Nurkic. So Lillard questionable tag, Chris, what's the best way to approach that today?
I mean, I think you just have to ignore it until we get news, just because I'm not going to backload here. We have so many good spots already in the early games. Like, obviously CJ would become a really good play, but they added Norm, so it's not like as good of a spot for CJ as we've seen in the past in games that Dame has missed. So yeah, I'm not going to do anything here to wait for the news. If we get it before like my first set of games lock at 4 and then 4:30, then I'll try to pivot if I can. But if I can't, I'm not gonna be too upset with it. I think all the earlier guys we talked about are in just as good of a spot.
Okay. Let's go over the other side. Spurs, Trey Lyles out. Gorgie Jang, questionable. Projected starters, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, DeMar DeRozan, Keldon Johnson, and Pirtle. Anyone there, Chris?
Not really. I mean, I was talking about the Spurs. I don't want to play anyone here. Maybe DeMar DeRozan if you really want to play a Spur for some reason, but I don't know. It's not something I need here at all.
Okay. Let's move on to the last game here of the slate. Knicks against the Mavericks. Got Royal King in the chat. What's up? New York side first. We'll go over that. So Alec Burks out. Noel questionable tag. Projected starters: Elf Payton, R.J. Barrett, Reggie Bullock, Julius Randle, and Noel. Anyone there, Chris, going up against the Mavs?
No, not really. This is a pretty ugly game here. It's the lowest over-under on the slate. Usually we don't like to target Knicks games unless there are injuries. Noel is questionable, like you said, so if he's out, maybe Taj Gibson. But like I keep saying, there's no reason to backload to wait for this news. We have guys in a similar price range with Isaiah Stewart, Kem Birch, who are similar to Taj, who I think are even better plays than Taj Gibson, even if Noel misses the game. So yeah, I'm not interested in this entire game really.
Okay. Mavericks side, Tyrell Terry out for them. Projected starters: Doncic, Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kleba, and Kristaps Porzingis. Anybody on the Mavs, Chris?
Same sort of thing. It's one of the worst pace down spots here that we can get. So I'm not interested in guys like Luka, KP. I mean, if I had to pick one guy, maybe KP in this revenge game against the Knicks, but I don't know. Tournament only if you need someone or want someone in the late night game. But for me, I don't need anyone here at all.
Okay. Let's go into our 3 plays of the day. First up, Chris, overall play of the day, favorite play, all formats on FanDuel. Who's your guy there?
I'll go with the Joker.
The Joker. Okay. Value play, who do you have on FanDuel?
Value play, Caleb Martin.
Okay, and then tournament play, FanDuel, who's your guy?
So I kind of like what Vian Jones said with Zion. He might go for 80. I think it was Vian Jones who said that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I'll go with Zion here.
Nice, I like it. Moving on to DK, Chris. Favorite play there, safest play, cash tournaments. Who's your guy?
On DK, I'll go with Jokic as well.
Jokic, nice. What about value on DK?
Caleb Martin as well here. He's 3.6, so really good value for him.
Okay. And then tournament play on DK. Who's your guy?
Same thing, Zion.
Okay. Then we have a question, Chris. Try to guess who said it. It is Anush a better shooter or Steph?
Is that from Thomas?
No.
Mayo?
No.
Who?
Anush.
Yeah, I don't know. Give me Steph. I'll go out on a limb and take Steph Curry.
Anush is always out with like conditioning, always on a minutes restriction.
Yeah,
Always out for personal reasons.
for sure.
Steph is in. Steph is more dependable. He shows up to the games. Let's go over your cores, Chris. FanDuel first. So you have Joker, Rozier, Caleb Martin. Let me just quickly touch on those, why you like those today.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably tag like 6-7 guys here on this slate, but I just went with these guys just so we have some flexibility with the builds. Jokic, he's very easy to get here on this slate, so that's why I like him. Rozier in a great situation with no Graham. Pretty much all their starters are missing. I like the matchup against Brooklyn, and then Caleb Martin, I like him a lot as well with Graham missing.
Nice. So yeah, here are the builds we have. Which ones do you want to go over?
Let's go over the first two.
Okay. No Zion here though.
Yeah, that's why I put him as my tournament play, because he's 10K. It's a little hard to get to. Like, we have these two really good value plays in Stewart and Birch at power forward, so probably not going to land on Zion in cash games.
Okay, looks like a 2v2 here. So Flynn, Ingram on one side, Lillard, Sadiq Bey on the other side.
Yeah, so let's see. So we have Rozier in both. Locked him in as core. Beal for 8-4. I like that play a lot as well here on this slate. Fred VanVleet, 7.4K. Pretty much all their starters are missing. It's his first game back. So I expect him to get his normal minutes. If not, probably 35 plus. I think the price tag is too good to pass up on, though, even if he only plays 35. So I like him there. Martin, locked him in. Stewart, all their guys are resting, or at least all their starters pretty much. So I like him here. Kem Birch in this new role with the Raptors, 4K, playing like 28 minutes per game, pretty active on the boards, gets you probably 10 points, 12 points, and a few stocks. So I like him here for 4K, and then Jokic, pretty easy spend up. And then the 2v2, Flynn and Ingram versus Dame and Sadiq Bey. This one is very easy for me. First side all day long. We got the questionable tag on Dame, so we don't need to go there. Sadiq Bey, 5-3, Flynn 5-5. I would go Malachi Flynn all day there. And I like the matchup for Ingram against the Wizards, so it's the first side here for me.
Nice. DK time. Let's see the cores here. So you have Jokic, Bey, and Martin. So just Sadiq Bey is the difference here. You don't have who don't you have there? Rozier, is it?
Scary Terry. Yeah, Scary Terry.
Yeah. So why no Terry here, and why Sadiq Bey instead?
Oh, just because he's 8.1K. Scary Terry is 8.1 on DK, so that's why I don't have him. And then Sadiq Bey here, he's 4.8, just easier to fit in. He's 5.3 on FanDuel, so I like him more on DraftKings.
Okay. Let's see the builds we get. So, yeah, which ones do you want to go over, Chris? I'm seeing some Boucher, seeing some Porter Jr.
Yeah, let's do the first two. I think it's a 2v2 here, or maybe a 3v3. But we have Westbrook in both. He's 11K, triple-double bonus on DK, so I like him a lot here. Martin, locked him in. Hamidou Diallo, he's obviously questionable, but if he does play here, I think this price tag is way too good to pass up on. We have Sadiq Bey, locked him in, and then Jokic as the spend-up. I like that a lot. And then we have this 3v3, two Pistons on both sides, and then Boucher and Porter. So first side has Jackson, Boucher, Saban Lee. Second side has Michael Porter Jr., Isaiah Stewart, and Killian Hayes. This 3v3 probably depends on who ends up starting. Like, if we get Saban Lee starting, I'll like the first side. If we get Killian Hayes starting, I'll like the second side. So that's how I'll deal with that. We just got news that Tobias Harris is likely to be out. So I kind of want to place some bets on these random guys like Seth Curry, points. So I'm going to do that quickly.
Yeah, go for it. Let's see. What side are you placing your bets on? 365?
Yeah, 365, because I think that's pretty much the only site that gives me player props in Canada, because I can't access DraftKings Sportsbook.
But they don't do parlays, right? You can't combine them?
Yeah, the player props, I can't combine them. Should I bet on Ben Simmons hitting a 3?
No.
But maybe he'll take a 3 with no Tobias Harris.
Why would he do that?
No, I'm just kidding. What about Ben Simmons points? 14.5 over? Over.
It should be.
Yeah. Now it's unavailable. So I got some. I think I got like a few $100 there. But yeah, back to this 3v3. I don't think the Harris news will affect too much here in DFS. They'll probably start Thibault for him. We just have I think we have better value plays than Thibault here. So I don't think it'll matter too much DFS wise. So back to this 3v3. Like I was saying, I think it depends on who starts between Saban Lee and Killian Hayes. I like both sides a lot. I like Porter Jr. I like Boucher. I like Stewart. I like Jackson. So I think it depends on who ends up starting for the Pistons.
Yep. So keep an eye on that, yeah?
Yeah.
Got it. Let's go over the single game slate here for Royal King. Single game, or should we do after hours?
Let's do the single game slate.
Okay. Let's do one of them. Hit build. Luka, Randall, Zingis. So that's pretty good. MVP here. There's like 3 viable options. Doncic being the favorite there, 60. Randall, Zingis, both around 20. So that, would you consider messing around with the MVP there, Chris, or more with the star?
I just wanted to say we got Bertans out, so I'm gonna place some bets here on Denny Avdia. I like some of his stuff. So I think he's gonna get more minutes. Also, Rui Hachimura.
Let's see if I can.
So I'm gonna do that quickly. Bertans. Okay, now I can't. What were you saying about this thing?
Oh, I was just saying, Luka here favored MVP at 60%, but we do see a bit of Randall and Zingis, unlike some of the other single slates. So I'm just wondering, would you mess around with the MVP a bit, or more so the star and keep Luka there?
Well, I think there's definitely routes that Randall ends up being the high scorer here. Like, we've seen Luka pretty much consistently put up 45, I think, over his last 10 games. So I definitely think there's routes that Randall beats him. We've also seen Kristaps put up like 55s in the past 10 games. So he's been playing better than Luka, in my opinion, over this last little stretch. Luka obviously had a big game last time out, but yeah, I think it's definitely viable to play someone like KP or Randall there.
Yep. What about like the extra guys, util slots, Kleba, Quickly, Pal, Redick?
I think the extra spots depend on if Noel plays, because I think Taj Gibson is probably a decent price tag here. So if Noel ends up being ruled out, you could probably play him. But yeah, this kind of depends on the news.
Okay. Anything else you want to go over, Chris, before we wrap it up?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Let's keep it short. Check out our site, guys, dfscrunch.com. That's the optimizer we've been using here throughout the show. So if you want to try it out, there's a free 3-day trial that's automatically applied to all new members. No code or special link needed to do that. Just go to our site, set up your account, and then you'll get 3 days for free. So you can cancel anytime during that trial. Won't be charged at all. So absolutely free. I think weekends, Fridays are always one of the better times to do that trial, since there's a lot of action. What do we have this weekend, Chris?
NBA, MLB, so pretty much the same stuff as all week, but we got MMA and NASCAR as well, so a few extra sports.
Yep. So check that out, dfscrunch.com. Lots of fun there, lots of ways to win, GPP, cash, super sharp projections. So it's a great starting point for any DFS player, all levels. So there's that. YouTube, make sure you hit the like button before you go. If you enjoyed the content here today, I do appreciate that. It helps us grow our channel. And then make sure you're also subscribed. We do the show every single day, 2.5 hours before main slate, weekends as well. So we'll be back at it tomorrow and Sunday. So you can come out here and get your slate overview out of the way. Get your questions asked. So make sure you're subscribed as well. One more question, Chris, from Vian Jones. He says, would you bump up Korkmaz with Harris out?
Yeah, of course. But kind of like I said with Thibault, if he ends up starting, even if Korkmaz ends up starting, they still have Embiid, who's going to demand all the usage there. So, I mean, you bump them up a little bit, but I don't think it'll matter here on this slate that we have like all this Pistons value, Hornets, Raptors as well. So I'm not sure it'll matter unless we get like Embiid out. Then it would matter, but I think at this point it's not going to matter.
Yeah, Simmons has to be too cheap here on FanDuel, 6'9" or something, 6'8". That's pretty cheap, unless he's a bum.
Yeah, that actually might matter. He might become a play on FanDuel, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh well.
Wait, let's go to the builds. I think there's a build with Simmons in the top 10 on FanDuel because he's more expensive on DK, so we don't have to do that. But I think on FanDuel there was one.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, so this one gets us Zion, which I kind of like. Gets us off of Flynn, though, which I don't love. Gets us off of Beal, which I'm probably fine with. Gets us off of Ingram down to Sadiq Bey. Don't mind that. Yeah, this is a 2-point projection difference. I think we have Simmons at 36 right now, so it'll probably be close. It might end up being like 1 and 2 between the 9th team here and the first team here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, guys. We'll be in the Discord, so you have more questions, come hang out there. Make sure you're in the Discord if you're a member. We'll be back at it tomorrow as well. So good luck today, guys, and see you all then.